Hi, John. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you. I'm excited tonight to kick this off, albeit virtually. But I want to say that we've been doing Accelerate Baltimore. This is our 9th year. And I know John will cover it, but we were the first lean startup accelerator in the city of Baltimore and in the state of Maryland. And it would not be possible without our partners, the Abell Foundation, and we will hear from Beth Harber later. So thank you very much. Would not be possible without our partners at BDC, Baltimore Development Corporation, and we will hear from their CEO, Colin Tarbert, later. Thank you very much. And this would not be happening here tonight if Celine did not arrange and do the hard work for Hop In and every session that's coming up. And I can't say enough as I introduce him. Thank you to John Davis. Again, we would not be here. This would not have happened. The organization would not be as it is were it not for John Davis. And I will mention one more thing and then I'll turn it over to John and I will be quiet. This is the first year we've done this, and it's very civic minded, and we have the best interests of the city of Baltimore at heart, and we hope, as all of you who are in the cohort and those with the great applications understand that. And we just heard from Patrick, thank you very much, with Supir, and we're going to hear from everyone else. But with that said, I promise to back off now, but I will introduce John Davis, and thank you. We brought him on to be the program director this year. And again, none of this would be happening were it not for him. Take it away, John.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. So I wanted to start off by welcoming everybody to the program and sort of give you a run of show for today. Without a doubt, I'm very, very proud to be running this year's program, the oldest citywide accelerator we have here. I've long been observing a strong entrepreneurial culture here in Baltimore, and despite that, we here this year know we can do even more to nurture that culture. Just the other day, I was speaking to Nneka Nnamdi. She's the CEO of Fight Blight, and you'll see her later in the evening. She and I were talking about this, and she mentioned as an example how ride sharing, was here a long time in Baltimore, that the entrepreneur spirit is here, has been here for a very long time. And the difference was here, like in many other cities, that ride sharing idea was criminalized. And one particular city decided to invest in it. We want to really build on that generic, unique entrepreneurial spirit that we have here in Baltimore. And I got to tell you, I'm really proud because it really takes a village to run Accelerate Baltimore. And I really have to take several minutes before we get into the speeches and the comments from our guests. I got to praise some folks for the work they did in helping us pull this village together. To start off with, I'd like to help, or not say help, but to thank Hack Baltimore. Hack Baltimore has been focused on the civic space from the very beginning, well before we did. It made sense for us to join in partnership and work together with Hack Baltimore. Unlike ETC, it is a true civic tech movement that is convening Baltimore problem solvers and creating sustainable tech solutions for challenges impacting our communities the most. So considering their success, it was a natural partner for us to join with. But it's more than just a name, it's people. And it's Dion Joyner-Weems and Delali Zirasa. Delali is the CEO of Fearless, one of our really important, largest Black companies in the state, and co-founder of Hack Baltimore, and a really intense, effective incubator called Hutch that you'll hear about at some other point in time. But Dion, the CEO of her company Audacity, and CEO of Hack Baltimore as well. They've put in tireless efforts to engage with the members of the community to participate in this year's program. And so prior to this year's effort with Dion and Delali, there really hadn't been a great focus to include Black and Brown entrepreneurs in any real intentional way with these citywide programs. And so it really gives me great pleasure to bring to the screen Dion Joyner Weems, my friend and my partner, to speak a little bit about Hack Baltimore. Dion, let's see, can we bring you up? There we go.
Here I am.
Fantastic, Dion. Thank you so much.
John, first, thank you to you, Accelerate Baltimore, ETC. I am proud to chair Hack Baltimore alongside a visionary like Delali Jarasa, who is upset that he couldn't be here this evening.
Yeah.
First thing that he will want me to do is to congratulate the entire 2020 Accelerate Baltimore cohort. And this is with a special shout out to the 3 teams that were mentored by Hack Baltimore.
That's right.
Nika Normandy of Fight Blight, Angel St. Jean of the Black Brain Trust, Rajan Patel and Mickey Wolf from Made at Dent. Those late nights seem like they paid off. So good job there. Hack Baltimore believes a true civic tech movement begins and ends with community. That's why Hack Baltimore is honored to present Accelerate Baltimore's first community engagement panel titled Minding Your Business, How Startups Authentically Engage Their Local Community. And it features a powerful panel of Baltimore's civic innovators. Tisha Edwards, the Executive Director at the Mayor's Office of Children and Family Success. Damian Cooper, Executive Director of Project Numa. Jonathan Moore, CEO of Rowdy Orbit. Shalonda Stokes, President and CEO of Downtown Partnership. Cheryl Washington, President and CEO for East Baltimore Development, Inc. Gone are the days of creating solutions without having those who are most impacted at the table. It's only through community engagement that we can be assured that the solutions to these civic challenges are actually sustainable. We need to ensure that the community is at the table. We're not trying to be superheroes, coming in and trying to save the day. Our role is to use the talent and the intellect and the ideas that are right here in our community, plus technology, to build a better tomorrow for Baltimore. And it starts here. So I want to say thank you again. Hack Baltimore is thrilled to be on this journey with you. Let's keep it going.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Dion. It's been a pleasure to work with you and your teams, and congratulations to the tireless work that you and your colleagues did. Work prior to an application for a program like this really matters, and you proved it. You put it in, and you were successful in having several teams make it into the finals, and 3 of them made it into our cohort. I'd like to just kind of go through several acknowledgements that I really have to do before we get into it tonight. There's so many people that have helped me and the program in so many ways that I just have to acknowledge. The first one is Neil Davis. Neil became my program mentor, and he was the person who brought ETC and Hack Baltimore together to make this partnership work. It's been talked about in the past. He made it happen. Congrats to Neil. By the way, he's recently announced as the director of the postgraduate certificate program at UMB for scientific and medical entrepreneurship. There's several other people that I would love to give a shout out to that I just don't have time to, but I do and must give a quick one to Christine Gloria from Aspen Institute, Henry Mortimer from UB, their Center for Entrepreneurship. My colleagues, of course, Deb and Celine. And my friend and coach, who's was really putting a lot of time with us this year, was Dan Kislick. He runs the Beyond Your Limits Consulting, and my colleague, Lonnie Kurlander. And then just to give you some context, I'd like to thank the 10 judges who reviewed the applications, the 29 business leaders who have offered to mentor teams, the 47 subject matter experts who will participate in all of the classes over the next 13 weeks. So truly a village has been formed to bring this to bear. And then finally, I'd like everyone to sort of join me in welcoming the over 30 CEOs that had companies that were involved in the application process, didn't get selected, and are actually auditing the classes this year. It's clear that the kind of resources and assistance, as much as possible, there is a thirst for that kind of information to participate in these programs. And so ETC and HAC Baltimore are very happy to be able to share the resources wider this year because it's virtual. So the teaching philosophy as we go forward with this year's cohort is pretty straightforward. It is something that I've thought about for many, many years, that the problem here is not that we're setting our goals too high and missing, but rather too low and hitting. And so that, you know, when you think about the folks that we have, and I've had the pleasure to speak to each one of the CEOs of our cohort, and I could tell you that they each have personal stories that reflect the level of endurance and perseverance and faith in their drive to improve the lives of people here in Baltimore. I couldn't be prouder to lead this group. There are 100 people, judges, mentors, subject matter experts, and coaches are contributing to the success of this program this year. 100 people. And that's not just amazing. That's a responsibility. That's a responsibility of mine and each one of these 5 companies to have a seriousness of purpose that is befitting of the resources and the gathering of our village professionals to support the success of these 5 companies. And not the least of which is to mention the $50,000 investment in each one of the companies. So I could say that I and they will become successful in improving the lives of our residents here in Baltimore, generating jobs in our community and having a positive economic and social impact because of it's an intentional effort on each one of our parts and their parts. So now, without any further ado, let me bring in and allow the 5 cohort the 5 CEOs from our cohort to come to the screen. That would be Neka Namdi of Fight Blight, Patrick Parents of Supir, Mohammed Najee and his partner from FullBlast STEAM, Angel St. Jean of the Black Brain Trust, and Nancy Goldring of the Sankofa Community Network. We'll wait until all 5 can join us. Hey, nice to see you, Neka.
Nice to be smooth.
Patrick.
Hey, what's going on?
I don't know. I think we have a few more available. Celine, if it's possible. I think Nancy, there she is. Okay. Hey, Nancy.
Hey, John. Hi, everybody.
All right. Okay. Hey, there we are. Angel, hi there. And the brothers.
And the brothers.
Najee. Everybody today. Excellent. So I just wanted an opportunity to just kind of ask you how you're doing and then kind of just reflect. I didn't do it until today, but with 100 people involved in this effort, make you feel special. What I leave it to you to yourself, say a word, and welcome you into this year's cohort.
Thank you.
Somebody jump in there. Go ahead, Nancy.
Well, let me just say it's been so surreal from the beginning, even up until now. I'm so incredibly excited. Our company is the Sankofa Community Network. Our goal is to wire the city, get kids back to school, help the elderly get telehealth services without having to be hugely inconvenienced. Our job, our goal, and our mission is to make this city tech heavy, tech friendly, and not have technology be
Good deal.
used as a weapon against it, but a tool in its best interest. So just having the opportunity
Thanks, Nancy.
to apply, being a finalist, like I said, there's no such thing as bad news right now. I'm grateful.
I hear you. I hear you.
Grateful to be here, and I'm thrilled to be working beside so many other great companies. Thank you, John.
Angel, how you doing this evening?
I'm, it's still a little surreal. I think it's been a little bit of a whirlwind for us. We've been working on this for, it seems like a really long time, and the opportunity came, and I'm so grateful, for the support of Hack Baltimore in this process. And, it's being here and being a finalist. It feels amazing. I have a lot of excitement, a little bit of anxiety, but I'm excited to see where we are on the other side of these 13 weeks, and just really appreciative of all the mentors, everybody who's pouring into us during this time. So thank you all.
Wonderful.
Thank you. How about you, Nneka? How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Can you all hear me?
You just got. Yes, we can.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited always to work in collaboration with other dope folks in community. My list of things to do is always running, so I do too have a little bit of anxiety, but opportunity.
Yeah, sure.
Opportunity comes, and it's time to, it's always time to be at the gate, ready to run. So I'm ready.
Thank you. Welcome. Mohammed, how are you and your brother doing? Oh, no, we lost him just that quick.
I don't think they wanted to get.
Oh, no. All right, Patrick. We already heard your video, but welcome, Patrick. We'll go to you and then to Mohammed.
Yeah, I'm just excited for the opportunity. I've been really waiting, to be able to get in here and get to work. Definitely appreciate everybody giving us a shot. It's kind of been surreal.
Yeah.
I can kind of definitely relate to Angel, and just like everything's just moving. You work on these things for so long, and when they actually start to come to life a little bit, it kind of catches you by surprise. Like, but wait, this is a real thing. This isn't like,
it's
something
real.
I dreamed about. So
It's
a real thing. So for me, I've just been excited. I'm talking to my wife and kids about it. I'm just ready for the opportunity.
Excellent. Now over to the gentleman at FullBlast. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Oh,
Can you hear us?
yeah, we can. Yep.
Oh, you can? So, hello. So,
Yeah.
everything's good. Glad to be here. Awesome. Happy to be in such a STEAM company, and we're ready to get started. Yeah, a little bit of anxiety, but we've been here before, and as far as the pressure to perform, so we're ready to rock. So let's do it.
Thank you. So really quickly, before I bring on Beth Harber from the Abell Foundation, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Raj with Dent Education and Made It Dent. Made It Dent and Dent Education submitted a application, which is really amazing business, a makerspace for Baltimore high school students currently producing face shields and PPEs. We publicly announced that Made It Dent had made it into the cohort, but we recently mutually agreed that the participate this year in an audit capacity. So we wanted to wish Rajan and his team all the best and you know, all the support that we can do. That when we received their application, one of the absolute best that was received out of all 87. So we look for being with Rajan back next year. And as a result of that action, we have brought in the Sankofa Community Network. And so I just wanted to make it formal and tell everybody and let the world that small change. And I really wanted to shout out to Rajan and all the efforts that Hack Baltimore did with the team to get big. Okay, so Beth Harber, if I could bring you into this group. I know you have a little something you wanted to share.
Great. Well, good evening. My name is Beth Harber, as John said, and on behalf of our president, Bob Embry, and the board of directors, I'm delighted to be here today.
Hey, there you are.
Oh, have you not heard me?
I can hear. Yeah.
We got you now. We got you.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess I should start over. Okay. I just launched right in. So good evening. My name is Beth Harber, as John said, and on behalf of our president, Bob Embry, and the board of directors, I'm really delighted to be here today representing the Abell Foundation. And we believe, as you do, that the fastest way to economic growth in Baltimore City is to nurture and support our locally founded companies. And while the Accelerate Baltimore program has also been a means to attract businesses to the city, and we're all for that, this cohort represents the best of what Baltimore has to offer. And we know that Deb and John and the selection committee found that among the more than 85 applicants to the program, there were a lot of strong candidates, and this was a very competitive year. So you should be very proud. So Abell's been pleased to support the program from its inception in 2012 to today. And over the years, Deb and her staff have worked hard to rework and adapt the curriculum involving many, many different partners. And John mentioned the numbers for this year, which is amazing. And I just want to take a minute to thank the selection committee, who I enjoyed working with, the business advisors, the mentors, all the other partners, both present and past, for your volunteer participation in making the Accelerate Baltimore program a success. And without you, there would not be a program, and certainly not at the level of excellence that our Emerging Technology Center offers. So we've seen impressive job growth and follow-on investment from a number of the companies that have graduated from Accelerate Baltimore. And the past results of the program gave the foundation the confidence to this year to double the funding commitment to each participating company. So congratulations to the 5 of you who were selected for this year's program. And I hope that you will learn from it at least as much as has been put into the development of the program over the last 9 years. Deb has worked very hard, and John too. So we wish you all the best success in your participation in the Accelerator and beyond. So good luck and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you so much, Beth. Okay, so we're going to move to the next video, and I think Blight, and I will be talking to all of you cohort members at the end of the opening ceremony. Thank you. All right, fantastic. Celine, you've got the switcher. Hello, Celine.
Sorry, I'm wearing my mask. I'm in the office trying to get this ready. All right, here we go.
That's okay.
And play.
We're not hearing the audio over here, Celine. We're still not hearing the audio, Celine. I'm not sure if anyone else is hearing the audio. I'm not. So perhaps Celine, no one's hearing the audio. Okay, so we'll get that fixed, Celine. Let's move on. Sorry about that, because that was NECA's presentation, and you know, it was really worth watching.
Sorry,
Maybe
everybody.
we'll be able to
All right, let me
squeeze it
try
in.
one more time. I apologize.
You know, Celine, why don't we move on and we'll try to get back to it.
Okay, sorry about
later.
that. Yep.
Is that okay? All right, thanks. No problem. So let me just continue on and go on with the program. We'll try to get NECA's video going later. So the ETC has a real opportunity to impact the economic development of our city this year, and it's really important that process be done. And as Beth was talking about, the ETC started out as the original accelerator for incubator for the city, and now there's an entire cottage industry that's grown up around it, and for good reason, because there's a real desire to incubate these new opportunities. But ETC is different. It is a product of the Baltimore Development Corporation, a taxpayer-funded entity, and so it has a sort of civic responsibility in its nature. And to speak more about the importance of and the role of ETC, the importance of accelerators and the whole reimagined economic development of Baltimore, we have the pleasure of having Colin Tarbert here with us. He's CEO of the Baltimore Development Corporation and has an interest in sharing a few words on behalf of the organization for our audience and for our teams. Colin. 1 second, we'll bring you right up. Well, we're having some technical issues again, it appears there, Celine. So I'm sorry that this is happening, but this. Oh, here we go. Excellent. There we are. Colin,
good. How are
you doing
you
tonight? Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Colin. And the floor is yours.
Having me. I think the technical difficulty was on my end, so I'm going to let Celine off the hook.
Oh, good.
So I'm excited to be here tonight, albeit virtually. I'm here at the BDC corporate headquarters in downtown, broadcasting live to you all. Just a little plug for BDC for any of those of you who are not familiar with us. I think many of you are our friends and clients. We are the city's economic development agency. We're here to grow businesses, attract businesses, keep businesses, and so we want to be a resource for all of you joining us today, and of course the 5 lucky cohort members. We're here to support you both during your cohort experience and of course afterwards. We want to see you grow and stay in business and be part of Baltimore's economy. So that's who we are. That's our mission, and we're all really excited to do this with you. I want to thank Beth and the Abell Foundation. We wouldn't be able to do this without their generous support, of course. And of course, Deb and Celine, thank you for your leadership in putting together this program. And last but of course not least, John, you've been just a great inspiration for this program and brought it to a whole, not just a new level, but a really new focus, which I think you see here tonight. And I'm very excited for that. Also got to give a little plug out to Hack Baltimore. I think Dion said that she's not trying to be a superhero, but earlier in the year, I'm pretty sure I saw her in a cape. So she is a superhero.
Okay.
She can do whatever she'd like. And shout
That's
out to
true.
Delali, who couldn't be with us tonight. But two rock stars that we've been partnering with, and very excited to see their members taking part in Accelerate Baltimore. You got some great inspirational speakers, which I think I'm going to stick around and listen to. I'm sure that's John's doing. So wonderful to see them participating in this program. Congratulations to the 5 companies. Excited to have you. We've been wanting to do this for a long time, really focus on social innovation and civic innovation. And I'll just give a little bit of a plug, and some of you are part of it, but BDC has been kind of helping to lead and spearhead an initiative called Baltimore Together, which is really our 5-year economic development plan for the city. And part of that, a key pillar is not just entrepreneurship, but social entrepreneurship. And there's a lot of us, I think everybody on this conference and others who might not be able to join us believe that Baltimore really can be and should be, and maybe is on our way to being the social innovation capital of the world. And to the 5 members of the cohort, no pressure, but we're counting on you to demonstrate that. So, the celebration is tonight, but the hard work, of course, is the next 13 weeks. And again, we're all here to support you. This really fits into our vision for an equitable economy, and an economy that not just benefits a few, but really benefits all of us. And it's great to see that mission come to light through your ideas and concepts. So congratulations to you. Thank you, John, and your team, and thank everybody who's making this work. Yeah. Obviously, it's, as you said, over 100 people coming together to support Baltimore and to support entrepreneurs. So thanks again for having me.
Thanks so much, Colin. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate that. So one of the things that Colin spoke about is this coordinated action for an effort to increase the return on investment for the city's efforts, like what the Abell Foundation and BDC is doing. The Aspen Institute, probably all of you have heard of before, but they have been in the business of helping cities and the innovation community find symmetry, because sometimes it doesn't work as well together. And so it's hard work, and they've been doing it across America, taking on some of the biggest challenges that cities face. And so it's with a lot of pleasure tonight that we have to introduce, and you have the time to speak to the CEO of the Aspen Institute and a Baltimore native, Mr. Dan Porterfield. And so we're really happy that Dan can join us tonight. Dan, there you are.
Great,
how are you,
John.
sir?
Can you hear me okay?
We hear you great. We hear you great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Dan.
Be here. My colleagues, Christine Gloria and Jennifer Bradley, have been involved in working with John. I hope we've been helpful. That's our goal, is to be a partner, be a good partner. The Aspen Institute is a nonprofit organization, and its mission is to try to promote a free, just, and equitable society, and to do that by driving change, and always in partnership with people in the community and of the community as invited, and to help bring people together so that they can collaborate, co-create, and create the future that we all long for. I was really struck by Dion's remarks and about the importance always of involving people in the framing of and defining of the problems that they face, and in being leaders in developing the solutions. The solutions have to involve everyone. That's really a big part of our philosophy across all these different programs that we have at the Aspen Institute. All these different neighborhoods, all these different cities, even countries we work with. It's about partnership. Then you do the work together with people, and it's like we're growing together, we're learning together. And innovation, to me, and entrepreneurship, and social entrepreneurship, is about relationships where we're learning together, we're trying out what can work, we're learning from one another, putting, Dr. King said, put our minds and hearts in motion for change, and then see what we can create, study it, document if it's making a difference, make the tweaks we need to make to keep getting better at it. Requires a pretty optimistic spirit and a sense of agency. And that only happens when communities have ownership of their futures. And the work of others is to provide the support for that ownership. That's what you're doing. It really inspires me. That combination of social entrepreneurship with community empowerment, those two together is really beautiful. And I know something that, John, you mentioned to me you're thinking about is helping the next wave of elected office holders in Baltimore understand the power and the importance of that twin commitment to social entrepreneurship and innovation with genuine empowerment, genuine community leadership. We have a lot we can learn, all of us, from one another. I just learned from just tonight listening to the presentations of the 5 members of the cohort. So thank you for letting us learn together and be a part of things. Besides being able to celebrate the group of 5 tonight that you've identified, I also hope that we can be a helpful partner going forward in sharing with others around the country what I know about Baltimore, because I grew up there and because my dad was a public school teacher, my brother's a filmmaker in Baltimore, that Baltimore is a place of incredible community heart and spirit. So thank you for the chance to be a partner in a small way. We're enriched because of your leadership and the leadership of the 5 in the cohort. Thank you.
That's very kind of you, Dan. Your team has been a tremendous help, have been involved with us in the judging and the evaluation of the applications and some of the policy positions that we're taking and trying to help. I can just say that the man that I believe will likely is the presumptive mayor, Brandon Scott, reached out this morning and indicated that he had a conflict and would not be able to join us today. But I can say that I'm very familiar and aware that he has that kind of vision that you outlined. And we look forward to working with you and your organization in the future. And thank you so much for coming tonight.
We would love to. Thank you. Great to be here. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Dan. That's great. We were going to go to a video now, but Celine, I'm going to try to make a program adjustment here on the fly, if you don't mind. I'd like to maybe, let's put all of the videos on at the end of the program, just in case, there's any more technical issues. And instead, I'd like to just move on to the interview that I'm having tonight with my friend, and a really powerful, important person, General Michael Hayden. So if that's okay with you, General Hayden, I see you're in the waiting room, and Celine, if you could bring him up. What we'd like to do is to talk a little bit about the impact of really advanced technologies and the intersection between those technologies and civic life, and sometimes how those technologies kind of spill over a little bit and create some distrust between the communities that we're here to serve and some of the folks that have the technology itself. So we'll try to queue up General quickly, and we'll get started with that interview. And by the way, while you're waiting, General, I'm going to bring in Deb real quick I think she's got a little personal message she wanted to make. Deb? Oh, hey, there's the General.
I'm doing fine.
How you doing,
How
sir?
about you?
I'm doing fine, General. So Deb Tillet, the ETC director, has a word she'd like to share with you real quick.
This is really important to me because I'm married to a spy.
Okay.
He was in the agency in the 60s and 70s. He was embassy stationed in Brazil, married a Brazilian woman. And then later he went deep cover in Argentina. during the Cold War. And he has
Mhm.
wonderful, scary stories. And
We all have, yes.
I
yes,
know, I know.
indeed.
But I just wanted to make sure he's out cutting the grass now, or I would have told him to come in
Oh, he's not even there.
and
Oh my
wave to
God.
you.
Oh,
But I
goodness.
just wanted to
Peter.
let you know that
Yeah.
Say hi.
I am married to a spy. Now I'll let you
Okay. Well,
go.
thank you. By the way, they're not very interesting.
Oh, General, wow. It's so good to see you, sir. And you look really well today. How
I'm
are
doing
you
fine,
feeling?
thank you.
Uh-huh. I know that you have been sort of public about some of the physical challenges
Yeah.
that you've had to go through, especially after being a commentator on like every cable news channel and network channel over the last few years. And so I just wanted to say one thing before we get started. I know that you haven't been doing personal interviews, live interviews, I should say. And I am so honored that you are willing to do that
No,
with
that
me
would be
today.
very good. First of all, it's very interesting, okay? And so that's really good for me to read that too. So thank you again.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So let me begin with a question to start off with. Is the truth under
Oh
attack?
my, yes it is. I wrote a book about 3 or 4 years ago, and I talked about truth. And basically in America, we want the truth, okay? And it's hard, and sometimes we do well, and sometimes not so well, but we try. But right now, there's a lot of problems going on, and truth, well, I don't know the truth now. It's really, what's the word? It's, I'm sad about the truth.
Yeah. You know, the reason why I bring that, we start there is because, when you have a lot of advanced technologies getting involved in civic life, whether it's satellite imagery, big data aggregation of social media comments and things of that nature, there is this truth about it, the good use of that technology, and then there is a truth about the potential bad use of that
Yes, indeed.
technology. That's part of what I'd like to talk and zero in on with you for just a couple of minutes tonight. We've suffered in this city from a lack of trust because we've had circumstances that caused distrust. When technology was used against leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement during the Freddie Gray scenario here, or when a city uses an airplane to fly over and take pictures to assist law enforcement and not tell anyone it's happening. So when those things happen, we have a long memory here, and Black people have a really long memory about the things that we've had to endure here in Baltimore, not just with those two. I could list a whole host of them. So when a community when their trust has been compromised, how do you put the genie back in the bottle? How do we do that here as a city? Help us understand how to keep our companies and our focus on integrating advanced technologies and civic life. How do we get to that balance?
Well,
Tell us a little bit,
it's
please.
very hard. And I was at CIA and NSA, and it's hard for that too, okay? Right after 9/11, everybody was saying, do anything you want to, because we have to do that. And then after a little bit of time, maybe 3 or 4 years, other people were saying, now, wait a minute, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, so there's a difference about truth, and people have to think about that, okay? Because it's very, very hard, okay? I was talking to my wife. I was in Bulgaria, okay? And I was talking to a senior officer in Bulgaria, and that was the communist time, okay? A Bulgarian officer, okay? And we're talking about truth, okay? And finally I said, well, what is truth to you? And the party said, the truth is what serves the party. And that's very, very bad, okay? And so an American or people like us want to say, well, wait a minute, let's talk about this. There are some times that we're really good, and maybe we are doing it not right, okay? So let's talk about it every time. If the truth is, the truth is there, we can find out about it finally.
But General, how do we rebuild the trust? You've been in circumstances where CIA or NSA work has gone into a country or a community, and when it gets disclosed what's happening, the trust is violated. There are people here in the city that feel violated with this kind of effort, and we want to make sure as we move forward, as we bring in technologies, we got, as an example, just really quickly, some of the companies we have, Fight Blight with Nekanandi, and she is using publicly owned, public data sets, potentially even satellite data and other data to assist in, looking at the conditions of blighted properties from a public health and public safety perspective. FullBlast STEAM is looking at bringing in sports into the area of using drone racing, robotics competitions, things of that nature. The Black Brain Trust with Angel St. Jean is working on capturing public data to really do a score about a company's equity action or equity in action score, similar to an ESG score that is now used on Wall Street with publicly traded companies. So we have needs for using big data. We intend to do good with big data. How do you rebuild that trust when it's been broken in the past? It bleeds over into our teams now. I don't want to see our teams, our companies affected by the mistakes that have been done by previous folks.
That's a really good question, okay? And some of these times are it's hard to find out what you should do or not do. And so I think the people want to see the government and the other people recognize this and talk about it. And if they don't talk about it, then I think it's going to be very, very bad for the people.
So is there a playbook for that discussion? I mean, what are the standards? What are the standards that begin? How do we move forward?
That's the most important thing, okay? So talk about the people in government, talk about in business, okay? And we have to talk about it because what I did in my time in the government, in CIA and NSA, there are times when I was saying, well, we were doing that, and I think that was a good idea, but now I'm not so sure. Let's talk about this, because if we don't talk about it, we don't have a solution, okay? So everybody was
and who do you talk with?
Well, everybody. Now,
who do you talk with?
For me, usually it was the Congress, okay? But now I thought, now, wait a minute, maybe some of the times we will talk about for everybody, not the Congress, but everybody, because they want to know. And that's what I had to do. And so when I was at CIA and NSA, I did a lot of people to talk about things because, and by the way, some of the people will decide one way and some people will decide the other way. I know that, but at least we're doing something perfect, not perfect, but
we're trying to rebuild trust in that sense.
So
So because we really got to cut across
That's right,
communities
because,
here.
you know,
right?
sometimes I can do something and I say, no, I know what you're saying, but we're still doing it. But we still have a thing about that, okay? That's okay.
So let me ask you this. So when this is more of just a kind of off the wall question. Is there a privacy right to stuff that's done in public now that we have access to sharp imagery from miles away, from satellite imagery and other things? Is there a privacy right? Should we be thinking about that? What do our companies
That's exactly right.
want to use and want to think about when we're getting involved with these technologies? How do we backstop against what can be perceived as overreach
for example,
and intrusion of privacy?
15 years ago, there was a problem for flooding in in New Orleans, okay? And we said, well, wait a minute, we have some things over there that would do that, and so that would be very good. And so let's do it. And then people would say, you did what? You were doing that? You know,
Yeah.
So we wanted to do it for other countries, for our defense, but not in our own country. Okay? Because we thought about it and we don't want to do that.
You know, General, as we do almost every month, we could have hours long conversations about all sorts of great topics, and we do. But let me just end with one question and let you go on. And by the way, say hello to your lovely wife, and I hope your kids are well. I know they had an embassy assignment overseas, and that just started
in Ukraine.
In the Ukraine, right. So here's the last question. I think this is the most important one. I watched Baltimore yesterday, and I watched Pittsburgh yesterday. I know you're a huge Pittsburgh fan. What's your over/under on the game? Because I'm saying that the Ravens are kicking butt, and I'm just saying I think we're going to take you out both games. So you tell me what's the over/under.
I don't know about that because I go to Pittsburgh a lot with football, okay? And it's interesting. When Baltimore comes to Pittsburgh, they win. And when we go to Baltimore, we win. So I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, so we got a date for the next game. I will see you there, sir. Thank you so much for joining with us today, General. Really appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Take care of yourself, sir. Bye. Well, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. And I really wanted an opportunity to talk to the General and to really, drill in on some of the technical things that are happening. A quick program note, I just wanted to share that before I go to my friend Verna Myers, if she can just hold on 1 second. Our partner Delali is here. He was able to now join us. If it's at all possible, Celine, can you bring Delali up on the screen? I would just love to be able to have him say hello and sort of personally thank him for all of the strong work that he's done. That would be wonderful. So if you can find him out of the 45 people who are here, that would be fantastic. I'll give you a second just in case you need to do some looking. Oh, okay, Delali, you need to request to share your audio and video. I think we might have some action happening. Okay, I think I see that happening. If this was TV, I just go to a commercial break and we bring you up then. Yeah, I see. Delali, thank you. Dion has already spoken. I just wanted to let people see your face and to introduce you and say thank you. There you are.
Right.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh,
There you are. Fantastic.
Good,
Fantastic.
good.
How you doing, sir? Excellent, man. I just, when I saw that you popped in, I just had to make sure that we got a chance to see that big smile of yours, and I'll give you a minute to reflect on the work and anything that you'd like to say.
We're so excited for all of the participants within Accelerate Baltimore. Like this is such a win for Baltimore, and there's so much shit that's happening in the community. And I commend Accelerate Baltimore and ETC and Abell Foundation on the shift to be more civic focused. And so we couldn't be more proud. We are all rooting for all 5 of you guys to go win and crush it and do amazing things. And you've got a tremendous support system in the community that ETC and Hack Baltimore and so many people in the city have helped to create. So take advantage of all of it and advantage of all the resources. We want you guys to all win.
Thank you, man. Thank you so very much, Delali. I appreciate you sharing that with you. And that's a perfect segue to our next guest. So thank you again. So Celine, if you could bring up Verna Myers. The reason why, I just wanted to put out a couple of statements. Hey, Verna.
Hello,
how you
John.
doing?
How are you?
Oh, wonderful. So I got to set this up before you start, right? Because, you have taught me, and we have talked much about how not only is our need urgent right now, but our need has to be intentional. And I've taken those lessons to heart in trying to develop this program. And I know that grand ideas require bringing lots of people, lots of community together with a lot of hard work. And so I just wanted to say to all of the folks on tonight, how special it is to have you as our final speaker, as a native Baltimore girl, in addition to so many other things, a TED Talk superstar, an executive at Netflix, a classmate of Barack and Michelle Obama, and what's most important to me is myself and my wife's personal friend, Verna Myers. And so, Verna, thank you for joining us from your suite in LA, I suppose, and thank you for sharing your support with all of us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you, John. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so honored, everybody. And I really was reflecting on this idea that the urgency of now is of now, and you know what, it always has been. It's just that somehow we have awakened to that in a way that we haven't before. Freddie Gray didn't get us there. I really am thinking about what is going to get us to understand what time this is. And yes, I am a Baltimore girl, proud, West Side, Poplar Grove. And I'm pleased to be here virtually, although I was freaking out about the tech, let's just be clear. And I'm so grateful that it worked. It is a special time for sure. And I was trying to think about how we're gonna make this special time last. Because we've had special times before, and the time that is most special to me, I was 8 years old, and that was at the assassination of MLK. And so, the fires burned in our city like it burns everywhere all over this world, and in particular in this country. And as a result, what I saw is some of the doors opened, I was one of the beneficiaries of that. All of a sudden, there were pools in our neighborhoods, and there were science programs, and I was able to take all advantage of that, including taking 3 buses across the town to Roland Park Junior High, which set me up to go to Western, which set me up to go to Barnard, which set me up to go to Harvard. And by the way, Michelle was not in my class. She's younger than I am. And Barack was at Columbia. I was at Columbia. And there are other connections as well. But
Gotcha.
Harvard, ultimately, we could say, brought me to the owner of my own business and then to VP of Inclusion for Netflix. And it's not an accident. But what pains me is that at that time, the doors opened just a little bit for just a few of us to get through. But so many people in my neighborhood never got an opportunity or a chance, and it wasn't because they weren't brilliant. It wasn't because they weren't capable. A lot of people say, well, I worked hard, my family worked hard. I'm like, hey, you want to know how many jobs my dad had? But in 1956, he was the first class of Black firefighters in Baltimore. As in, apparently, I guess Black people couldn't fight fires before that. But and I'm also sad about it because it had an impact on him and what he could bring to our family, and ultimately what this time came by, I became the beneficiary, but we do it differently this time for Baltimore, for corporate America, for the country, for the world. And so I thought about three things that I think make a difference. One, inclusion. They're all I's because, you know, I was born and raised in the Black church, and it's all about alliteration, right? It's like, can you talk about the sermon after church, right? So you gotta have words. I really thought about inclusion, intention, and impact. And, you know, a lot of people know me from the saying that I'm credited with, and in fact came up with, called, which is diversity is being invited to the party, but inclusion is being asked to dance. And I was reflecting on that because I was thinking, yeah, but what is to be said when forever the party has been run by the same group? In order to get us to true inclusion and to make this time different than all of the other times, is that we have to recognize and be willing to understand that the party has been shaped by racism, by white supremacy, by a false notion of meritocracy, by valuing white culture and patriarchy over all other things, including really seeing things as less about people and more about money. And, you know, when you think about it, white and male is like a very powerful force, and it has been for a long time. And if I were to stay with that analogy, I would say one group has been selecting the music. They've been figuring out the time of the party, the place of the time, the rhythm, the access to the party, and that access has been restricted by certain gatekeepers. And so what we need to do in this time to make it different is what you are attempting to do, and what ETC and Accelerate Boston is, sorry, I said Boston because I spent 36 years, Baltimore is to open the doors wide and not be satisfied with only a few people getting through. And we have to be willing to invite people from all backgrounds, especially our Black brothers and sisters that have worked so hard in this city. And we have to be willing for them to change the party. See, a lot of times people want to invite you to the party. They don't want you to change anything about it. They don't want you to go to the DJ and be like, you know what, you could play this for me, right? And so we have to be willing to allow them to lead and to change and to teach us new dances. Why? Because all the studies say that if you are going to be truly innovative, you must be diverse and there must be inclusion. That, in other words, there must be respect for the difference. There's no way to solve problems or to innovate on solutions without having inclusion and diversity. That's what all the research says, because you have to break up the group think. So inclusion is absolutely important and necessary. On the second thing is intention. And what I mean about that is that intention is the only cure in my mind for institutionalized racism and equity for all. For a long time, this country and this city, we've created systems that have advantaged the same people over and over again. And that means that what has happened is power and privilege and dominance has been cemented in the same group. That's how privilege works. In other words, people don't love it when I say it, but I get to say it now because we are awake, because George Floyd could not breathe. We are able to see what is real, which is racism is the status quo. That's how we have learned to do that. We have become comfortable with inequity and social injustice. And I've heard people say to me, you know, what is wrong with our society? What's wrong with the police department? What's wrong with our justice system? And then I heard another person say, there's nothing wrong with it. It's doing exactly what it was intended to do. It's intended to keep power and influence and dominance in the hands of the same group. And so to break through that, if you are truly trying to break through that, we can't be neutral anymore. The neutrality is the complicity. And I know that people don't love it, but what I want to tell you is we can't afford to be neutral. We can't even afford to be good people. We have to be intentional people. And to be neutral, as I said, is complicit with what already is. You know, I talk a lot about unconscious bias, but I came back to Baltimore about 7 or 8 years ago because I really wanted to give back. I wanted to see my family. I wanted to really just give back to the city in lots of ways. And it was heartbreaking. And maybe I was just way too naive to realize that in the boardrooms, in the back rooms, in the bar rooms, you name it, people are making decisions to disadvantage the same groups over and over again. And it's not unconscious. I mean, we've got data, we got plans, we've got scientists coming in, researchers coming in, telling us if you make this decision about transportation, if you build the bridge here and not here, if you add this or take this away from public schools or communities, this group is going to be negatively impacted. And John, we do it anyway. And in my mind, it would be like, okay, if we did, okay, Roland Park this time, you know, West Side this time, right? No, it's the same people getting the disadvantage. So we have to be intentional to think about who is missing. We have to be intentional about our language. We have to be intentional about whose perspectives we're soliciting. That's what you're doing. We're talking about tapping new networks. And we have to be intentional about assessing the barriers. We can't say, oh, this is a level playing field, so everybody who really wants to submit and come in can. If we aren't willing to be intentional, we won't assess the barriers, we won't try to remove them, and we will think that there's a reason why it didn't happen that wasn't about us, but it won't happen. Like, equity does not happen unless people are intentional and they are committed, and they do that over time, because that is how we break through that history of exclusion. The last piece is impacts, right? Our intentions are not even going to be enough. It's important, it's essential, but ultimately we can only be happy if we're making a difference based on impact. We have to evaluate, in my mind, everything through the lens of impact. To make a difference, you have to capture the urgency of this time, we have to get focused on what is the impact of what we're doing, including the negative impact and on which groups. So as we make decisions, no matter how well we can rationalize why we're doing it, and you know, us humans, we can rationalize all sorts of stuff. We have people who live on the streets in next to, not like 2.5 miles for people who live in mansions. We have learned to rationalize, okay? But if we're going to make a difference, and if we're going to make use of this time, this urgent time, and make it different, we need to analyze the impact of all of our actions. And that means that sometimes the groups that have been favored, the neighborhoods, the universities, the organizations, the companies, the clubs, that have been privileged over and over again, they will need to absorb some of that impact. Share access, share goods, and not be the ones who are always benefiting. Because if we can make a decision that benefits everyone, I'm for that, I love that. But that we can create equity with making some very hard choices around, and with some limited resources. And so what I'm suggesting is that we start making choices based on helping and opening the doors to the least of us, not those who are best off, because that's how you know you're really making a difference. And that's how our city is going to grow and prosper and solve some of these seemingly intractable problems. So the urgency of the time demands this: inclusion, intention, and impact.
Man, God, thank you so much, Verna, for taking us home this way. You just gave me goosebumps.
It's real. I do better this
It's real.
This time.
That's right.
We gotta do
You got to
better.
do better.
You know, my mom always says, my
Yeah.
90-year-old mom says, when you know better, you must do better. And that's the charge.
Yeah. You know, I just want to give a shout out to Dion, who is really helping to move this effort in a direction that really involves that group of people that you've been talking about. It is hard work, and she has, like Colin was saying, she has a cape on at times because she's really pulling it together and making a real impact on our city and our program. And so, you know, it's just so nice for you to speak this to us tonight. You weren't able to look at some of the comments in the chat, but there are people quoting your words. There are people shouting out your name. I just really want to say thank you on behalf of everyone who joined in. And I wish, you know, the whole city would have joined in just to hear that part. But we will take it forward, Verna, and hopefully I'll be able to enlist your support over the months to come to help us keep
I'm
our
in
focus.
LA, but my heart's in Baltimore. Always. Always.
That's so nice. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Verna. Really, really wonderful to see you again. Thank you so much. So, folks, that's going to really kind of conclude the portion of the program that we had planned. I did mention that we would show the videos now. Looks like we still have a good number of the folks that signed in are still with us. There was a comment asking about what kind of companies, what do the companies do? I know that's probably an obvious thing. I'd hope to be able to share all of that information via the video. So we'll give it one more try. We'll try to get the video working and see if we can, I think some of them are 3 and 4 minutes long, so it'll take us about 15 to 20 minutes to get through them, and then we'll go from there. How are we doing, Celine?
Right, I think I can do
Good.
it this time. I know what I did wrong, so let's get this
Fantastic.
going.
Thank you so much,
Share
Celine.
audio, number 1. All right, here we go. I'm gonna go back to Fight Blight. Is that cool? And just go through the rest of them? All right.
Yep. And if you could just remove me from the screen, and let's just give the videos, and we'll close things down when it all gets started.
All right, sounds good. Let me...
Okay, so I think I'm supposed to end this evening, and I want to thank everyone. And I thought John and the speakers, everyone did an amazing job. And really, we're going to share all of the videos for the cohort. So not on this call, but you will get them separately if you signed up so that you can understand who's participating and what's going on. Again, such hard work that went into this, and it couldn't have happened without Celine. And even though we are ETC, the Emerging No Technology Center, apparently, because we can't get the videos to work. But, and John, I mean, hard work, pulled these speakers together. General Hayden was amazing, and so was Verna and all of the speakers. So we really, really appreciate that. But, you know, we are at ETC a mission to create an economic impact on the city of Baltimore, one entrepreneur at a time. And thanks to Abell, this program has allowed us to do that. And I'm really excited about this year and what we're doing and the different civic way that we have gone. So I want to thank everyone who has participated tonight. I want to congratulate the cohort. I want to thank everyone who helped us with the judging and reading through the applications. It's a slog, trust me. It's a tough one to read through 87 plus applications and try and winnow it down when everybody is someone you want. But we are proud to have the cohort, and we will be moving forward. And now what I'm going to do is I would like to say thank you so much for participating, and goodbye to everyone except those in the cohort and the mentors, because we're going to start what is, for all intents and purposes, the orientation and the kickoff for the cohort and the program. So if you are A, not in the program, B, not going to be a participant as a speaker, or C, not a mentor, I would like for you to go have your dinner, enjoy a glass of wine, and we will see you in the neighborhood. Thank you.